if you know, you know.
Absolutely. And to speak about like the other side of the spectrum in that regard, 'cause I feel like I had to go through like, especially in recent years, where I had to start realizing I could embrace my ego more.
Yeah.
And
I'm an advocate.
right. So
Be that nigga.
Yeah,
Be that nigga, Q.
I've never been like an insecure guy in my life, to be honest. But I've always been like, I'm a very laid back person.
Yeah.
So I would be like, oh no, like when I start like making certain moves in my life professionally and shit like that, money wise, I would, I remember we had a moment when we was doing that business one time and I introduced myself and y'all was like, Q, don't just say you're cute. Yeah. Like, don't just say you're cute.
Like, you the director of operations.
Right.
Like, you ain't no little. You better claim your title. Like, you worked for that. You ain't get handed that.
Now, on the other side of that is I've seen people, to your point about the ego, where they lead with their ego and shit 100%. Like that, and I see how that can just be like just corny or like corny, inflated or whatever. But at the same time, understand it's a delicate balance. So if you don't embrace who you are and embrace your skill sets, your value, your power, whatever it may be, then people can just say whatever it is. Oh no, if you don't say your value, and someone else can make your value for you, whatever. Yeah. So when I was making certain moves and kind of downplaying certain shit, I was no, it's kind of whatever. They're like, no, like clearly it's not whatever because other people aren't doing this.
I will never let nobody I'm around downplay themselves. Even when you had that moment and like to tie the knot on it, it's like it's okay to have an ego, but the ego has to have boundaries for you and others. Like it's okay to know, like, all right, I'm around other people that are successful, but I'm not about to allow their success to intimidate me and make me forget who I am. And I also don't have to go into a measuring contest on who's more successful. Typically, that is the people that's insecure. And I'm glad you used that word because that's typically how people view ego, just from an insecure standpoint, because they only look at it when it's time for people to lead with their accolades and their credentials, and they're leading with the title, but the title is not who you are. You follow what I'm saying? It's like when you know who you are, that's where the good ego come in at, where it's like, no, I know who I am. Like, I'm the wolf. That's within spirit. That's not just a brand. That's not just a name. That's not just a title. It's like, I really innately embody and exude the energy and the characteristics and the traits, and that's just who I am within self. So it's like me calling myself that is just me walking in what I know I already am. But I was the wolf before I started calling myself the wolf. That's like a motherfucker calling themselves the goat. It's like you don't got to take that in an arrogant way. It's just like that's how you feel about yourself. It's okay to feel highly about yourself. You just would be delusional to try to make others feel how you feel. Like I feel highly about myself. You don't have to agree. I'm okay with that because it's a self thing. The ego is weak when they need you to say it too. Like, I need you to tell me I'm the greatest. I need you to tell me I'm the GOAT. I embrace every compliment, see, because I always live by never let a compliment go to your head and never let an insult go to your heart. You got to be okay with both. Like, you could say I'm the worst fucking person and you can say I'm the best person. I'm not taking neither of those things personally, and I'm not about to let the compliment make me feel like you heard what they saying about me, I'm him, and I'm not about to let the insult like you heard what they saying about me. It's like, no, I'm on some steadfast shit where it's like, all right, thank you. And, just living in that makes you be able to tame your ego. As a man, you got to. And as a woman, you better learn how to stroke a nigga ego, because the women that know how to stroke a nigga ego in a healthy way, not a toxic way, in a healthy way, get what they want. The chicks that make me feel like him unintentionally and all that, what you want? How much? You good? Like, you feel me? Because you making me feel good. So I want to return that.
Especially, like I said, not in a toxic way, and it was a very natural way. It's their feminine energy.
So,
and
exactly.
Just,
you ever some real feminine energy where she just like, just soft-spoken and just talking, and you just like, it's crazy. I just be like, it be so non-sexual, but I'm just over here thinking sexual because of how she carried. Like, bro, that feminine energy, boy, I'm telling you, man, there's nothing like it.
And to break it super full circle, when you spoke about a compliment or an insult, shout out to you. Credit again. Are you ready?
Yeah,
more credit on camera.
I'm a little. It's not as shocking. You gave me my credit, so it's not a world breaking moment.
Got you.
You broke the ice now.
Word to you. So the first book I ever completely read in my entire life.
You don't got as much as you read it. Go ahead.
Cool. Was the 4 agreements, and word to one agreement is don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally.
And the thing, I live by. Now, if you ever read or whatever about 4 agreements, the one thing I did fuck with again is 4 agreements. They're very simple, and how he dive deeply into all the different very simple terms and phrasing.
That's why the best
in and out he did or whatever. So when he went through the don't take it personal chapter and he was talking about literally what you just said, like
that's probably where I'll be real. I govern my life through that, so I wouldn't be surprised.
right. And I was like, that makes all the sense in the world. The idea of like whether it's an insult or a compliment, don't take it personal.
Yeah,
you are who you are, and you need to be that before anything else comes your way in the first place.
The reason them 4 agreements changed my life is because everything that he talked about changing was things that I needed to work on. That was a groundbreaking moment for me. That right there helped with my ego, bro. Because like like when I was a rapper, super duper ego. It's about really knowing, like, and I still feel like I'm one of the best rappers. I feel like people still can't out-rap me. I'm okay with that being my ego. I still feel like I'm a great football player. I still feel like it's certain people that just can't stick me on a football field. I still feel like I'm extremely intelligent, but none of this can go into arrogance. It's like I know exactly how talented I am. I still feel like I'm creative. I feel like I'm one of the best marketers ever. Like to the point where people don't even understand how good I am at it, right? And what I mean by that, I'm just saying like it's a profession, but it's like it's just something I know. Like I'm confident in that. But I also understand where I'm not so good and where I do be a little like I cook some shit, I'm looking like, what this nigga think about it? Now, what you think ain't gonna shake my spirit, but what you think is like, cause I know I ain't the best at it, right? If I'm like, and I feel like having that sense of self allows me to navigate through the world where I'm like, I ain't really that good with this camera shit. So I'm gonna ask Rick. I ain't really good with time management. I don't got too much pride to ask Q. I think you fuck up with your ego when you feel like you gotta know. I don't feel like I gotta know. You know, I'll call you in a second. Yo, Q, how I do this? And then like for me to be so smart, motherfucker might think that this nigga probably think he know it all. But you firsthand know, like, no, this nigga Wolf will call me in a heartbeat and like, hey, Reggie, how the fuck you do that? Like, why? Because I'm smart enough to know that you're smarter than me in certain areas. And I'm cool with that. My ego doesn't bother me because I know the areas I'm good at.
You know enough to know you know everything.
And the 4 agreements with the be impeccable with your word is why I'm very intentional about how I speak. You know, we don't talk about nothing negative.
Part, yeah.
We don't even acknowledge it. Even when I got out of the situation, I don't even, I said, bro, I'm not even gonna talk about the negative shit. I'm only gonna talk about whatever. Second thing, don't take anything personal because I used to. I took everything personal. Everything was personal. Yo, this motherfucker, they knew I was hungry, but they ain't tell me they was about to go eat. Then when you realize, like, yo, you gotta be delusional to think that people spend their time thinking about you. Like, you're delusional if you think that people, when you are not around, not to say that it don't happen, but for you within self to be thinking that it's happening, that is overly arrogant. Like you actually think that people got enough time in their day to sit around just thinking about you, whether good or bad. That's just too much, like within self.
Because it's next chapter. Assumption.
It's assumption. Yeah. It's third agreement. Don't make assumptions. That's another thing. Where I was trying to tell you within your pop, and I'm like, yo, like, don't assume you know where he coming from just because he did that before. Give him the opportunity to speak for himself so you have evidence to support. With like, I was telling, and we was running payroll the other day in one of my companies, and the guy was like, yo, how much you think it's gonna be? I said, how about we wait till they land, and then I'll fix the problem based on what's in the account, not based on what we think might happen, because it'll be evidence to support what's wrong versus us hypothetically speaking. I don't want to hypothetically speak. I want to speak with facts. And then the fourth point was always do your best. This is a subtle gem because that's why I could walk away from all of my relationships. Not every last one. My first one I learned a lot from. But everyone since then, I knew that I was my best. And if my best ain't good enough, that's cool because I know it don't get no better than that. It's not say I can't get better than that. It's to say that what I did for what I had at the time was the best that I could do. So why would I sit here and ridicule myself because you might not feel like it's enough when it's like you might be lacking or be overly stimulated and it might be a thing where you got voids that I would never be able to fill. That's cool. And I'm not saying that's the dynamic.
Do at the time.
I just couldn't do it at the time. But I'm not saying that's the dynamic. But I'm saying I already go into a situation understanding that. So it's like your best gonna look different in different seasons. If you rich, your best gonna look different than if you poor. If you happy, your best gonna look different than when you mad, or if you sick, or if you healthy, your best is gonna look different. But when you do your best, you have no regrets. If you was sick as shit and you went into work and you gave it all you got, you walk out of there empty because you're like, you know what, I gave it all I got. But if you could be sick or healthy, if you left a little bit to be questioned, you're gonna always have that cringy regret feeling of why didn't I do this? There's a lot of people living with that why didn't I do moments because they didn't do their best going into it. Every situation I go into now, I make sure that I'm gonna leave it all on the floor. So even in my last relationship, everybody on the outside could see like, yo, I was really I'm my therapist. I tried, and it's not like it was like a catastrophic break or none of that. It was just like, for me, it was just like, I see that I want to go this direction. Like, that's just what it is.
Off ramp.
That's just what it is. But the fact of the matter is, I can feel that way comfortably knowing that, yo, I did my best. Like, I don't look back and be like, damn, what would I have did differently? Like, no, I really don't see that. Like, I tried. I'm a self-reflection king, and I'm like, I'm actually complete. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and to put a button on it, yeah, when I read through the 4 agreements, when I think about it, when I go do different things and I think, oh, this, that one, I said, well, yeah, that's a pointless mental exercise. Yeah. And I feel like, especially with the assumption thing, as soon as I try to make assumptions, like, that's a pointless exercise. Like, it is, it's just pointless.
Don't that shit just be in your head now, the 4 agreements, bro? That's such a great book. Like, that shit changed my life. It inspired cheating is not cheating, which then trickled down into the art of accountability. But it all started from me utilizing them 4 agreements because they so simple. It's like, yo, I really, 80-90% of our communication really is gossip. That's why I don't do, we don't even talk about the people. Like, I could say that I always was good at that, but I could say that put the nail to it. Like it was like it's like I'm never talking about. There's no reason to. I'm not even listening to it. It's like people want to talk about unless it's sports. That's part of the thing that we talk about that's not associated with us that because it's sports. But other than that, it's like no. Then don't take anything personal because everything not about you. Then don't make assumptions. It's like you might be wrong and you might be misviewing the situation, so you should get evidence to support it. And then the last thing, and the evidence can't be biased evidence. It has to be objective evidence, not subjective evidence. Then the last